Looking for reliable forex analysis? Check out ForexScope for daily forecasts and insights to help you trade smarter. Link in the description and comments.
Utter hypocrisy. Tobacco firm lobbied against rules in Africa that are law in the UK. British American Tobacco, a global giant in tobacco production, faces accusations of profound hypocrisy following revelations of its lobbying efforts against stringent tobacco control measures in Africa, measures that are already firmly established within its home country, the United Kingdom. A sensitive letter, obtained by The Guardian, originating from the company's Zambian subsidiary and addressed to key government ministers, explicitly calls for the abandonment or significant delay of proposed bans on tobacco advertising and sponsorship. This aggressive pushback extends to a draft bill seeking substantial alterations, including a reduction in the mandated size of graphic health warnings on cigarette packaging, the removal of restrictions targeting flavored tobacco products, and a significant watering down of penalties for any violations of the new regulations. Master Chimbala, a vocal Zambian anti-tobacco campaigner, articulated the stark moral dilemma, stating, "If I was a politician, I would say that they permit the protection of the British people and perpetuate the death of the Zambian people." This statement underscores the grim reality that over 7,000 Zambians succumb annually to tobacco-related illnesses, a figure estimated by the World Health Organization. Chimbala further indicated that the letter, circulated widely among civil society groups and reportedly copied to several government departments, represents a clear attempt to undermine public health initiatives. This development unfolds against a backdrop of escalating global concerns regarding industry interference in health policy. Just last month, World Health Organization officials issued a stern warning, highlighting the tobacco industry's intensified efforts to erode international tobacco control frameworks. Jorge Alday, director of the tobacco industry watchdog Stop at Health Organization Vital Strategies, offered a damning assessment, noting, "We see evidence of industry lobbying everywhere. Tobacco company fingerprints are on delayed tax increases in Indonesia, stalled legislation in Zambia and even a weakened declaration at the UN high-level meeting on NCDs." Alday emphasized the potential human cost of such interference, warning, "If a tobacco control measure isn't passed because of this letter, the price could be paid in lives of people who might otherwise quit smoking." The Zambian tobacco control bill currently navigating parliamentary approval is notable for proposing measures that go even further than existing UK legislation, notably by extending regulations to e-cigarettes and mandating that graphic health warnings cover a substantial 75% of product packaging. However, the letter from British American Tobacco suggests a drastic reduction of these warnings to either 30% or 50%, framing it as adherence to the WHO FCTC Framework Convention on Tobacco Control recommended threshold, while simultaneously requesting a delay of at least 12 months post-bill passage. This directly contrasts with the WHO's actual recommendation for warnings to cover at least 50% of the front of a pack and to aim to cover as much of the principal display areas as possible, and stands in stark opposition to the UK's current requirement for warnings to cover 65% of both the front and back of a packet. Adding to the controversy, British American Tobacco is also pushing for the removal of broad restrictions on flavored tobacco products. The company argues that such restrictions would inadvertently drive consumers towards illegally traded products, proposing instead to ban only a select list of flavors specifically based on desserts, candy, energy drinks, soft drinks and alcohol drinks. This proposal directly contradicts the UK's complete ban on all flavored cigarettes, implemented since 2020. The draft bill outlines significant penalties for various offenses, including fines calculated as a percentage of annual turnover and potential prison sentences of up to 10 years. In the letter, Mukubeza Malyand, managing director of British American Tobacco, Zambia, plc, asserts the company's commitment to good corporate behavior and its support for governmental objectives to reduce smoking incidence and its health impact. However, he simultaneously contends that some regulations can have unwelcome and unexpected consequences. Chimbala vehemently disputes this, stating that BAT's proposed amendments would weaken this legislation so much that the impact needed for it to cause long-term change in society will not be achieved. The very fact that many of these protective provisions are already law in the United Kingdom. The headquarters of British American Tobacco is, according to Chimbala, utter hypocrisy itself. He eloquently conveyed the ethical bankruptcy of the situation. We live in a global village. If I plant tobacco in my backyard and harvest that and sell it out, and my children do not consume tobacco, but my neighbor's children do, to enrich myself and all the generations of my children while my neighbor's children are dying, is in itself total emotional, moral and spiritual bankruptcy. Chimbala further counters the industry's claims by pointing out that tobacco control legislation in the UK and elsewhere has not led to the closure of companies, asserting, legislation never shuts down the industry, it only protects the people. A spokesperson for BAT Zambia responded by stating that the company conducts its business in compliance with applicable local laws and participates in the country's legislative process in line with relevant frameworks for stakeholder engagement. The company claims it is not opposed to regulation and supports protecting underage individuals from tobacco and nicotine access. They advocate for progressive regulation to achieve intended public health goals, while acknowledging the spectrum of rights and obligations on industry, consumers and related stakeholders, asserting that BAT's proposals reflect the realities of the Zambian market and tobacco industry, which includes rising levels of illicit trade. The Zambian Department of Trade, Commerce and Industry was approached for comment on these serious allegations.